Hey, welcome to the My Inner Struggle podcast. I'm your host, Laura Ferry. This week's topic is something I'm really passionate about. We're doing a mental health check-in, building a business without losing yourself in the process. Let's have an honest conversation today, not about scaling, strategy, or growth hacks, but about what it really takes to stay grounded while growing your business. May is Mental Health Month, and I want to take a moment to check in on something that often gets pushed to the back burner, how we're really doing behind the scenes of our businesses. I've had seasons of high growth that looked great on paper, but I felt completely drained behind the scenes, and I know I'm not alone in that. So, when you're ready, grab a cup of coffee and come get uncomfortable with me. I'm so happy that you're here with me today to talk about all of the things. And I apologize in advance if there's any background noise. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but there's some work going on outside my window. It's just life. So we have to roll with that. I am going to start talking about the coffee aspect because I am a coffee fanatic. I could drink it all day long, all night long, if it didn't keep me up at night, but it does. So I try to stop. It's the early afternoon here, and I have, just because I was in the area, a shaken oat milk espresso from Starbucks, and it's absolutely delicious. It's kind of one of my favorite things. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm really excited. I'm going to be speaking at the Chamber breakfast, if you're a member of the Sussex County Chamber here in New Jersey, in a few weeks, and speaking about mental health awareness and how critical that is. And as I'm making this transition, to sort of meld everything that I'm doing together. It's been really exciting, but also critical. And people don't really talk about that mental health background when you are building a business and how important that is. And really, as the business owner, as the CEO, as everything, this is who you are. This is how you communicate with your employees. This is how you handle business. And when you are not okay, your business isn't going to be okay. All those relationships around you aren't going to be okay. So I want to talk about the invisible emotional weight of running a business, decision fatigue. If you're not making a decision, you're making a decision not to make a decision. Financial pressures, that's probably the biggest one. When we have financial pressure on us, it feels overwhelming, especially if you have employees to support or you're just trying to support your family or what have you. But finances is everything. And if you don't have a clear indicator of where you are at with your finances, whether you're a large business or a small business, it's just as important. You need to have a pulse on where you're at and what you need to achieve. So that's very, very critical. Often, one thing that I said recently, actually at a meeting today, in fact, I had lunch with another business owner, is the fact that the isolation and loneliness was the one thing that I didn't really think I would feel as a business owner, which is interesting. Loneliness is kind of a big one for me because when you're a solopreneur and you might have people working for you, but it's very hard to find other business owners that are able to be emotionally there for you in a friend kind of capacity, not like you're trying to sell each other stuff, but just kind of someone to be able to talk to if you're going through, a difficult time, or get their advice on something, or if you're redoing your website and you're like, how does this look? What does this feel like? Does it make sense? Without trying to sell you on something. So finding that tribe of people has been an interesting journey. And especially, and I've talked about it too before, about women in business kind of tend to hold everything close because we're afraid and insecure about there being like enough, but there's always enough. It's hard to find those people sometimes because we can only meet them where they are. So I want to normalize the roller coaster a little bit, the roller coaster of emotions that goes on in the background about building a business. It's not a sign of weakness. It's life. Things go up and down, but it's what you do with it that makes the biggest difference. It's okay if some days you're fired up and other days you're questioning everything under the sun. Did I make the right move? Am I going in the right direction? Did I make the right decision? Am I being an asshole? Whatever it is, it's hard sometimes, and it's okay. We're all going through it. I'd rather you show up honest than not at all. That makes more sense, right? So I have a couple questions that I'm going to throw out there. Obviously, you can't answer me live time, but I'd love to hear from you. If you are an entrepreneur or a small business owner and want to participate, shoot me a message at info@lauraferry.com. I'd love to hear and collaborate. And, and if you need help, I'm here for you. But I want to ask you just a couple questions to sort of plant some seeds of growth for yourself, because sometimes we just need to reconnect to ourselves and our why, and where did this start and where am I going? So the first question, I wrote a couple down for you, is when was the last time you felt genuinely excited about your business? Think about it. Was it this morning? Was it 3 weeks ago? Was it 10 years ago? When was the last time that you felt genuinely excited about your business? The second question is, are you sleeping okay? Sleep is so fucking important. And I am a born and bred night owl. Let me tell you, I like staying up late. I like, when the house is quiet. And I think it was like instilled in me, from a younger age. I guess I was definitely a night owl, like in high school and then in my early 20s. But then when I had kids, I was 25 when I had my daughter. It was like the quiet time. So it was nice because I would stay up, later watching TV or chatting with my husband or at the time, or just writing eventually when I started writing. And it was nice to have just the house was quiet and no one needs anything from you, that you can stay up late. And sometimes I would come alive at night. My creativity gets fueled at night. But running a business, you have to be available during normal business hours. That is when everybody else is working. That is when you need to make your connections. That is when you need to be promoting yourself. You need to be running your business. So you need to kind of set some habits for yourself, instill some good, solid routines for yourself, and get in with the land of the living. You can't burn the candle at both ends. You're just going to deplete yourself, all of your energy and your mental energy, more importantly. And sleep is the number one thing. So, what do they recommend? Between 7 and 8 hours of sleep at night. I started getting in bed now. On a good night, if I can help it, I'm in bed at 9 o'clock and I'm asleep by 10, and I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, just because I have these daily routines that are keeping me going and really contributing to my success and my productivity and everything else that surrounds it. So sleep is really important. So are you sleeping okay? If not, then you need to resolve that. If you have a hard time winding down at night, there are tools to help you. Meditation before bed is a great one. No electronics an hour before you go to sleep, because you don't need to be wound up on Facebook checking all the different arguments on all the groups, or searching for things, or just having that light in your face. That really does affect you. The next question I wanted to ask is, have you connected with anyone outside your business this week? So this is an interesting one for me. So as I've been building my business, I have created all these great business relationships. But in my personal life, not a whole lot has changed. And I definitely need to fuel that more. But I'm also going through my own growth in that department too. So have you connected with anyone outside of your business this week? That's important, because you want to fuel those relationships too. And those are part of what makes us us. So that's really important. The next question is, do you feel like you have space to just be, or are you constantly on for your business? So this is an interesting one for me. So as far as the content side of of any business, right? Because if you're any business now, most likely you're participating in some sort of social media aspect to advertise your business or network or anything like that. And so for me, I'm creating a lifestyle and media company. And lifestyle is kind of a very broad topic. And I talk about, getting healthy and cooking and recipes and being a mom and, home and decorating and gardening and, like hiking and all of these different things. So it's hard to shut it off sometimes when you see something beautiful, right? You're in the woods or whatever, and you're like, oh, that would be a really great post. But it's hard to be like in the moment if you're constantly looking to create content. So the question then for you is, do you feel like you have space to just be, or are you constantly on for your business? One thing that I can say is that when I've been walking in the woods, and I've been doing that since I think early February, daily, and it's been incredible. And I put my phone in my pocket and leave it there. And I try not to touch it. Although if I do see something beautiful, I will take a picture, but I'm not going to rush and create something with that or anything like that. I might shoot a picture and just move on and listen to whatever it is I'm listening to, whether it's just nature or, a playlist or an audiobook or something like that. The last question that I have for you is the version of success you're chasing aligned with the life you actually want? Think about that. What vision do you have for your business, and does it actually fit in with your life, your current lifestyle, or the lifestyle that you are looking to achieve? Does that align together? I want you to pause and reflect on those things. So even if you pause the video or the podcast and think about it and write it down. We forget about these things. I might listen to a podcast too, and I was like, oh, I want to go back and figure that out. Just stop, just pause it for a second, write yourself a note, or I'll send myself an email. So that acts as another to-do list for myself that I'll remember, okay, let me ask myself those questions so that I can go back and do that. So what's helping me stay grounded lately? I have these, and I've talked about it over and over and over and over again, but I really think that it's so important, to have these tiny daily habits in your personal toolkit. Whether it's a morning routine or an evening routine or something that you do daily, getting out to meet people, network, but then also personal network. So non-negotiable mornings. My morning has changed now, and it'll be changing again soon, I'm sure, because, school is winding down for the year, and I have 3 children. My daughter will be coming home from college, and then my 2 other children will be home. So it's all going to change, but I kind of like that. I found that since I've been back from my trip, it's been about a month, that my morning routine has not been exactly the same that it was. And I typically take my daily walks in the middle of the day or in the afternoon. And I was really kind of doing that because it was warmer. And 2, I need the mental health break during the day. So if I'm at it and I'm in it or I'm meetings or whatever, I can get that in the afternoon, and I feel refreshed to finish my afternoon. But the non-negotiable mornings often, let's not check our email until we're going to sit down and actually do it. I was just telling a friend of mine that it was probably 9 months or so ago, I got rid of my office space because I wasn't using it, and created an office in my formal living room. And immediately before I had, when I did have the office space, starting my morning until I was doing this miracle morning that I'm doing now, I would come down and immediately jump on my laptop. And it was really hard to shut it off until I started creating these routines for myself. Again, if you haven't read it, it kind of got me to where I'm going is a really great book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And it was a really great formula for a successful morning. And that has made me way more productive. But I've since changed that too, because we're always changing. So I start my morning, I'll come down, put the coffee on, and I'll go into, once that's done, I'll kind of go into like meditation and prayer and, doing my affirmations and looking at my vision board. And then I'm reading and writing and kind of starting my day that way. I still don't touch the computer until all of that is done. In fact, I've made it a practice now. 90% of the time, I'm not touching the computer until my daughter is on the bus. And so that's after, like 8:30 in the morning or so. If I had told you that, or if I had heard myself saying that a year ago, I wouldn't have believed you, because I was diving right in as soon as I got up. And then by the time it's like noon, I'm still in my pajamas and I'm like doing emails or responding to things or creating content or writing or whatever. And now I don't do that anymore. I might still be in my pajamas, but, and then I'll get changed to go on my walk. But, yeah, I try not to do that anymore. Another thing that can help you stay grounded is working with a coach or going to therapy. Without a doubt, I am a huge fan of therapy, and I am a huge fan, obviously, of coaching. I think that they are very different things. I think, and I like to view it as coaching as like forward movement and action, and therapy is digging into the things that we need to resolve from the past, our why of we're doing everything. And I think they're both equally as important and can coexist together in the same time period, same lifespan, same all of it. Setting digital boundaries. So there are certain times where I found like I need to put my fucking phone down. I need to put it in the freezer so I don't look at it, so I can get this stuff done. And whatever you need to do to do that, then do it. It was probably, maybe it was a month ago, I started putting my phone on do not disturb during the day if I was working on something, because I don't want to hear the notifications. I don't even want to pick it up and look at it. I just want it to be away. And so I can focus and get my stuff done, because oftentimes when you're running a business, you're getting interrupted by people or whatever. And of course, there are going to be emergencies, and you might immediately say, well, I can't do that because of XYZ. There's nothing saying that you can't put your phone down on do not disturb, or let your employees or your kids or whatever know, like, I'm going to be working on something for an hour. Unless something's on fire, please don't interrupt me. I'll check back with you in an hour. You are capable of that, and that is okay. And that should be a good boundary for yourself. If you can't do that, there's got to be a shorter amount of time that you can do that. Obviously, it depends on the day. If you have some major installation going in and you need to be available, that's probably not the day for that, but you know what I mean. And if you need help finding that, just send me a message. I'll try to think outside the box with you. Having a real life check-in buddy is really valuable. I don't have one currently. I think it goes like in waves. But I have to say, having some heads down co-working time is kind of interesting. So this was introduced to me by my friend Katie, who I met networking, and she's amazing. And she actually owns her own consultancy, and she works with larger business, trying to get them in the right mindset and moving forward and growth and strategy. And she's really amazing. And so she was the one that had said to me, and this was probably a good 6 or 8 months ago. And she's like, do you want to come over one day? We can have some really good heads down co-working. And I was like, what is that? And I went to her house, we had lunch, and then she's like, okay, now we're going to work. So let's not chat. And I was kind of afraid that I would be more or less like annoying, or I'd start talking or whatever. So I was really like on task, but it really, really worked. We sat there just kind of working, but alongside each other. And I couldn't believe how well I was able to focus. So I've done that a few times on FaceTime with various friends too, and that really works too. So being a solopreneur, and I have people that work for me, but they have full-time jobs. They're kind of helping me, in their free time. And so it's not like I have access to everyone all the time. So being able to co-work with a friend, whether it's side by side or via FaceTime or something like that, it's really helpful. And having that check-in time, so if a friend of mine came over the other morning, we had coffee together and breakfast, and then we sat down at my desk and we were both working, but on our own stuff. And it's like setting a meeting for yourself. And it was really helpful, and it helps me focus quite a bit. Anything that you can do for yourself that's taps into your creativity is really, really good, because that'll fuel everything else. It taps into the part of the brain that we might not use all the time in a fun way. So any way you can recharge, whether it's writing or journaling or painting or gardening or doing something that you don't normally do, but something to fulfill some soul action, basically, just to kind of give yourself some space. So if there's anything that you enjoy doing, that I would highly recommend. Work that into your week. If you can't do it every day, you can be planning for it every day. If you if there's something, let me think of a good example. So say it's wintertime and you're like, well, I love gardening and I love being outside, but it's wintertime. Well, then start planning your garden, to start drawing it out, start figuring out what you're going to plant or whatever. Even if you can't do that thing now, you can start looking forward to it. And that's part of that process too. Or planning a trip or something like that. That helps just clear your mind and not have it always be about business 24 hours a day, because it can't be. It's physically impossible and it's unrealistic. And this is your life. It's not, you want to leave everybody with, how do I want to say that? Like a great legacy. And your legacy is, who you are and how you handle everything around you. Of course, I'm relating this personally, but business and personal are intertwined. I know we don't like to say that, but it totally is. And the way you handle yourself is a reflection of how you're taking care of yourself. How you handle yourself is a reflection of how you're taking care of yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself, everyone can see that. Trust me. So how to ask for help before you're drowning. So you don't have to ask for help. You don't have to wait for everything to fall apart before you ask for help. So if you're considering working with a coach or going to therapy or taking up a hobby or whatever, start taking action on that now. Don't wait to reach your threshold. Start taking care of yourself now. You can always hire support, right? If you are a solopreneur and you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford anyone, you have to really step back and look at that. If you hired a virtual assistant for 5 hours a week, how much of your energy and time would that free up? And letting go of that. There are so many business owners that are, very stuck on the fact that they're like, well, then I'm going to have to show them how to do it. And it's just easier if I do it myself. Don't get into that. Don't stay in that space. It's easier if I do it myself. There are some instances, there might be certain situations where, if it's not like a repetitive thing or what, I get that. I understand that. A lot of small business owners in the realm of creativity or, service-based industries might say well, I wind up doing all the billing myself or things like that. And that I don't understand. I get everybody thinks their business is hugely unique and no one else will understand it, but you can take the time to teach someone. It might mean that you have to put in a little bit more hours in that moment to teach someone about your business or how you bill or whatever. But as soon as they get the cadence of your work, or they can always ask questions. So really what you want to do is where are you getting the most value out of your time? asking for help or hiring someone to help you 5 hours a week to get these things done so that you can focus more on growing the business instead of being in the business is really important. That is what they like to call a $1 million move, by the way. Being able to outsource those tasks that really aren't helping you get anywhere. You have to be able to do that. I just had this conversation at lunch today. We talk about like those little things that can change your life. I have a landscaper that mows my lawn. And, some people will say, well, why don't you have a 16-year-old son? Why don't you just buy a lawnmower and have him mow it? Well, okay, I could do that. But then is he going to do it in the time that I want to do it? Is he going to do it in the way that I want it done, or, professionally done, or whatever? It doesn't really matter. I just want it done. I want the weed whacking done. I want the lawn done. And it's a small expense to pay, and time, freed up. So that's my doggy. So, taking these steps to really pour into your cup is super, super important. So I really want to wrap this up and just kind of, put it in a bow for you. You're not just building a business, you're building your life. And that's what's important. And you deserve to feel good inside and out of it. And so taking care of yourself is really, really important. Taking care of your mental health is really, really important. And doing all of those things for yourself helps fuel your mental health. I want you to think about one thing that you can do today, this week, in the next 7 days that you can help yourself mentally, that can support your mental health. What is that first step that you need to take? If you want to share a one-word check-in with me, shoot me a message either through wherever you're listening or watching, or you can shoot me a message on social media or to my email address. I want to hear how you're doing, what you're feeling, and what challenges that you're facing. Again, if you're ever interested in working with me, you can shoot me a message either on social or an email to info@lauraferry.com. Be sure to check out the blog at myinnerstruggle.com. That is all about my own personal growth journey. Pick up the book, Is It an Open Bar? And wherever you're watching or listening to this, if you could hit like and subscribe and share it with a friend if you think that they could benefit. I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me sharing this journey. It's been incredible, and it's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And I'm just really, really grateful. I know I keep saying that, but I really, really am. I came from a very, very different space, and I'm just, I can't even put it into words some days. I wake up with a smile on my face and just feeling gratitude from my core for where I am. So until next time, I am thinking of you and sending you love, and I will see you soon.